Hello everyone. This is Plague Doctor, and today I am joined by Idot.
Hello, I am Idot.
And today we're going to be looking over a scrim between Empire and Apeiron. Empire being one of the teams that I have casted a few times over the last week-ish, and Idot is actually part of Empire.
That I am. I am one of the 3 co-captains that we actually have there.
3 co-captains?
Yeah, it's actually a carryover from our old days. The idea behind it, I guess, for us is that no one co-captain can have an express opinion about some member and just dislike them and boot them off the team, basically, or
I see.
go against them in the way. Like the power of 3 allows there to be always an odd number where someone's gonna win an argument, one side is gonna win. But we have enough people to where each co-captain can kind of check and balance the other's power.
Makes sense. Looking at the match here, it looks like from Empire, we have them fielding 3 tryouts today. Meanwhile, with Apeiron, only 1. Seeing Argonaut return here. Last time seeing Argonaut on a Valor scrim, actually. Looks like we have the team switching sides here with Apeiron now on offense and Empire on defense. Seeing 3 tryouts fielded from a team is a bold choice, I feel, but, you know, seeing as it's a scrim, there's not much that can go wrong, per se.
For sure. I think it'll be interesting to see if there's a lot of teamwork coming out from Empire this game, especially because they have those 3 tryouts.
Especially because they have those 3 tryouts, indeed. Looking at the economy here, seeing a pretty standard buy. You know, seeing Empire scrim from before, we saw you guys are pretty consistent with your buys typically, and so is Apeiron, it looks like, going for all spectrals with some incendiaries coming out, and actually Empire going for some defensive gadgets, which I haven't seen too much in the past few scrims. Look like Mara may be going with a Jesper here. Actually, Mara looks to be AFK, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, and I do see a Taurus from Silver, actually, which will be an interesting first round buy here.
Especially, let's see, it looks like Silver also AFK here. Maybe the server having a bit of trouble. Looks like both teams may drop a member immediately. Unfortunate start, but at least it's an even start between the two. A menace. Already, it looks like we have a standard push here from Apeiron, pushing in on Hatch towards Jim, maybe towards B point. We have Exciting and Blubber both holding green hallway, getting some info peeks in. Drone here from Apeiron getting denied some information by an early shot here on green hallway. What do you think the Apeiron pusher is going to look like against Empire? A bit more of an experienced team working together.
Well, so far it seems like a classic gym push, although there's not a lot of flares consolidated, but trips do catch Bent in the hallway there from Trail is High. So far, though, another pick there, Blubber taking out Argonaut, Silver taking out Mara. We're seeing a lot of contact in this green hallway, and it's kind of forced Apeiron to delay their push pretty heavily here. Although, that being said, Empire has taken some large casualties with 2 players and lots of damage done onto Blubber.
I did notice that the unfortunate timing there was Trellis actually took out Empire's bot, and a second later, their 5th actually rejoined, so they could have had a 5th member in it. Unfortunately, they just did not get that, and now they are down a member because of TK. Looks like we have...
Go
ahead.
The wall does go down. We have some jiggle peeks here from Apeiron. Exciting playing a tight corner. Maybe giving himself away with that shot there prematurely. Could be a rotating to green hall, it looks like.
Looking like we may have Apeiron pretty cautious on this gym push here, rotating through hallway. Exciting, trying to hold down this door. Pencil Sharpener getting a great info peek up. Silver getting taken down by these Empire players in the back of the point. Pencil getting taken down by Exciting. With Empire getting this pistol round, very good jumpstart to their economy. Looking at the utility from both sides, I didn't see much utility coming out. How about you?
I did see an instant or two, and there was a nade down that green hall, but it didn't end up getting too much damage. I think a lot of the utility defense side was put into the gadgets rather than the throwables, although I think offense could have maybe used a couple more gadgets to help take that green hallway away from the defense.
Right, and something I've been seeing since the incendiary update is a lot of teams haven't switched to using these incendiaries for defensive purposes rather than offensive. You know, they are being used really, really early in the round, but what incendiaries really should be used for at this point with the buff, I would say it would be holding off the points, driving them, you know, holding down the other team for 15, 20 seconds. That's what I've been seeing with these Valor scrims, and with the scrim with Empire, especially. Valor was pushing through using the incendiaries on defense. And speaking of incendiaries, Pencil Sharpener seems to have lost their incendiary.
Seem to be down an incendiary, which is an unfortunate situation considering their more recent buff. I've never seen that one before.
I haven't either. It looks like Maya on a flank on these stairs may be able to catch Argonaut off guard. Argonaut checking it without a drone. Apeiron buying 0 drones, apparently. Oh, actually, having a drone that gets taken down. Silver losing some information there. Apeiron pushing in on this hallway, so far going with just meta pushes, maybe what they're comfortable with this tryout.
I do see Mara coming on the flank. An instant goes down, but Silver does take out Exciting with an Omen here. And Bent does catch Mara on the flank. That was really the biggest thorn in Apeirion's side here. But with the flank taken out, this is going to be a tough fight for Empire to win. Lots of contact with this wall.
Silver having to bait out some incendiaries in order to, some trip mines in order to enter the point, having them placed over the doorway. Wow. Apeiron taking down these Empire players, claiming their second round here. Now heading into round 3 out of 1-1, with the economy swinging back in Apeiron's direction.
I will say both of these rounds have had pretty close finishes where both sides have had a lot of damaged players at the end, meaning that each fight was really taken down to the wire when it comes to HP. No real clear, decisive action taken in that regard.
Right, and looking at the scores here, we have a frontrunner here, Blubber, going 3-1 for Empire, being a bit of a frontrunner here early in the game. And the kills are very spread out over on Apeiron, with a 2-2, 1-1, and Froke with 0. But doing well for his team, getting some assists, helping his teams take these people down. You know, we're seeing some pretty spread out stats so far. No clear, carries, anything like that. Teams working together, trying to figure out these team plays with these tryouts. Looks like
it's always great to see that.
Looks like we have a meta push here from Apeiron, pushing in from Red Hallway, as well as in this back room. Not much of a flank cover here from Empire.
Yeah, they do appear to be very stacked towards the B side, although Mara does appear to be upstairs, potentially going for yet another flank, although Apeiron might be expecting this after the last round.
Actually, Cry is seemingly getting hit a few times through the wall, and Silver able to catch that there's trip mines over on that B wall. Actually cried taking down Pencil Sharpener and maybe droning Mara out here if they're unlucky. Mara getting droned out on the flank.
Backing off, definitely the right move there. And I actually cried is in fact stuck in that red hallway, although no one was holding that vent, so he does manage to get back across. That could have been a dangerous position for him, but Blubber does seem to have a syringe, which will help actually get back into the action here.
Broke looking to push into this back of B through the wall, but unfortunately getting stymied by a static and an incendiary, along with a frag grenade. Empire using 3 of their utilities just to block off this one push. Maybe a bit of a blunder there, using almost, half of their economy here just to take down one person. Silver getting a great frag kill on Trellis, as well as killing Exciting with his Omen. Blubber taking out Bent, and Silver taking out Blubber. Mara approaching. Go ahead.
An unfortunate collapse on Mara there on the flank, just a little bit too late to really do anything about that EMP plant. And you're definitely right that a lot of utility went down a little bit too early for Empire to really stop a push.
That's what I've been seeing as well, with these flanks. A lot of teams are doing these really late flanks, which can be useful, but if you're not able to capitalize off of having that numbers advantage, you're holding points with 4 people while one is outside. And if they're having a flank watch, there's just not much you can do about it. I feel like Mara being on flank has not worked out too well. Maybe we might see a bit of a change in strategy here.
One can hope, although it is on this top floor, roaming is a lot more of a common thing I tend to see here because of this open kitchen layout here. Taking control of this kind of canteen space seems to really swing the way that rounds will go up top here on the top floor of Arctic. Because you can get easy access to both A and B walls if you're an attacker, and if you're a defender, you get some really great flanks for both sides being pushed.
Right, and another nice thing that I'm seeing now, you know, going around through the points, is that unlike a lot of the teams I've been seeing who fully focus on that green hallway and on B, Empire is actually blocking off A point with a door blocker. You know, rotate plays have been called pretty often with these teams recently, and no one has been covering these off-meta pushes, and I haven't seen too many people capitalize off of it, but that could start happening as the season goes on, heading into Season 4 for VRML. Talking about this round right now, Bent passing a stim around and then trying to back up, push through kitchen maybe, having no one on the flank, able to push straight through. We're gonna take a little bit of damage through that gym wall, almost going down with Mara taking down Silver with an Omen, taking out a Vezin for Empire here. Looks like we have...
We're seeing a lot of damage being traded between these two teams, although Empire seems to be winning for the most part in this green hall.
We also have Trellis and I She Cried rotating around on her flank. Looks like Trellis is the only one left. Apeiron not watching this flank at all. Argonaut probably about to be taken out by this push. And Trellis taking out Apeiron with his RCP, taking down an important rifle for Apeiron.
At this point, it's all about the players in a 2v4. Although health economy is in Empire's favor, that doesn't mean that some of them aren't a little bit low. Although, having said that, Mara did just get syringed.
They did, and Pencil Sharpener holding the back hallway here on Theater. I She Cried taking out Bent with an Omen, able to claim a Vezin.
A second, but dying to the instant.
Unfortunately, at least he was able to get that kill off for his team before he did die.
Seemed to be some laughter in his direction, being from exciting there. Pointing at the body.
And Apeiron's economy here a little bit in shambles, looking like we have almost a full buy here from Apeiron, but if they can't get this round off, they are going to be set up very badly heading into round 6. Meanwhile, over on Empire, very confidently able to just go straight into buying high with Mara at 5,000 with a buy, as well as a grenade. Looking at the utility here, we're not seeing too much utility come out from either team. Seeing some frag grenades and incendiaries, maybe a drone and a breaching foam, but other than that, on Empire we have some defensive Gaddis, a lot of defensive Gaddis being placed down, but only a smoke, an incendiary, and a frag. Very light on their economy, especially with how much extra they have.
Yeah, it does appear that they may have just bought out both incins and both frags in the moment of our discussion about economy and the lack of utility. So cutting it close to the wire for Empire. Although I will say Apeiron does seem to have a lack of throwables, although I'm not sure their economy really allows them to capitalize on those. A deep nade going out, doing some damage to Frook, but not enough to really change around so far. Not a lot of aggressive pushes from Empire for this hallway. Will Apeiron see these trips behind the box here is the next question.
Yeah, that drone came through, didn't check any of the corners, didn't check for any utility, leaving the team at a bit of a disadvantage here. Frook able to see those trips, not able to take him out. Argonaut trying to bait them out.
Attempting to bait.
Frook getting some damage there. Damage. Oh no! Looks like we have...
Unless the trips do go down.
Looks like we have Clever over the top there, exciting, trying to get some banks to the wall. I think the play here is to open up the wall and get some picks into point before they really close it off.
A bit early of a nade, dealing a little bit of damage onto Silver, but that could have been catastrophic for a planter.
A fantastic incendiary from inside point, blocking Apeiron from each other, exciting, taking out Silver before Pencil takes him out on a headshot. Apeiron getting a bit of a hero plant off here with Pencil blocking Froak from dying on the plant. We have Apeiron able to take out Empire on this push, playing very intelligently on that wall, double pushing on the outside of the door and on the wall in order to split their attention.
Honestly, just some really great holds from Apeiron there post-plant. Not really giving Empire any room to work with or to push off of. A lot of teams, when they get that plant down, tend to back off maybe a little bit too far and let the other team get control of the space around the EMP, but not Apeiron in this scrim. They absolutely forced Empire to push right where they wanted them to.
Exactly. And, you know, looking at the push here from Apeiron, it was a very well done push at forcing Empire to block them off. And I feel like Empire used their utility a little bit early there. They could have used their 2 incendiaries to block off the plant, knowing that almost every team is going to be planting the same spot on that big blue box. Instead of trying to use them offensively, against Apeiron, they could have saved them and held off that plant for, you know, 20, 40 seconds.
Yeah, different utility usage could have swung that round a lot differently into Empire's favor, but I think a lot of it came out a little bit too early or a little bit too late, unfortunately.
I think we have another meta push here from Apeiron, along with the Droner. The Droner Silver staying very, very far back from his team, almost backing all the way up towards spawn, causing him to have to run pretty far in order to get back to point. Bent taking out I Actually Cried through the wall bang. Very well done. Looking like Mara maybe learning from some past mistakes, staying inside point rather than roaming. Exciting just right in the middle.
Some good damage on a Froak.
Exciting just right in the middle of the wall bang here. He could get caught off guard by a wall blow. But we'll see if we can capitalize off of that. Wall being opened up here.
Get caught out.
A great offensive smoke there from Empire, blocking off Apeiron's vision and splitting them up on the wall.
Great incendiary as well onto Argonaut and Silver, dealing a lot of damage, bringing them both down to below half health.
Unfortunately, using both of their incendiaries, however, limiting their utility usage. Silver getting a great refrag here for Pencil Sharpener. Sorry, for Exciting and Burnt.
2 great nades coming out from Apeiron, both getting a kill each.
A flashbang on Mara, forcing them to retreat back to Connector. Now able to hunt if they want to, or hold this EMP down. Looking like we have 2 players holding EMP, while Froak may be hunting Mara. Froak pushing through Connector. Pencil also coming through this Connector. Froak maybe thinking about going through that vent. Mara watching it very carefully. Froak getting the kill off here, claiming a 4-2 lead for Apeiron heading into Switch. Very dominant lead here.
Yeah, what started out looking like a great round for Empire with some really great instant damage there kind of ended up just being taken away from them by a more incredible utility this time from the other team, along with some good trades. I am interested to see how Empire is going to take this attack because as a player on the team, I know that we tend to do some off-meta pushes when we're on offense on Arctic here, but we are without our IGL, who's usually calming out those pushes for us. So I'm excited to see if the tryouts are going to be pushed to do something interesting or if we're going to see more of the same coming here from Empire.
Indeed. And, you know, looking at it also with these tryouts, especially missing the IGL with tryouts, everything like that, looks like I have iAdapt in the chat here, asking why why Empire is letting them take some space, saying hold a pre-fire, tap fire, blind fire, save util for a guaranteed kill or close off EMP, which is a great point there. You know, trying to use util to close off the EMP rather than get some kills can be really, really useful for that defense. Looks like we have
Starting out here, we do have an A push, which is a little bit uncommon. However, Apeiron has already rotated back in some incredible wall bangs, dealing a lot of damage. With Exciting and actually create a nade from Froak taking out Exciting. A flashbang going in, blinding Froak. Mara gets him. The wall goes down.
Looks like we have Argonaut on the long flank here. Bent holding down the fort for his teammate to get back with Mara and Blubber alone. Mara at half health with no stim to get back up. Argonaut getting the flank off here with Mara taking out Silver. Now a 2v1 with Mara inside the point. Now a 1v1. Mara getting some great kills off here. Are the comms going to be enough for Mara to take Argonaut out? Looks like Mara opting for a fake plant here.
Mara does end up getting the kill. Wow.
Argonaut getting outplayed on that peak there. Mara doing very well to hold down the point for their team. Looking at the stats, we have 7 kills from both Silver and Pencil Sharpener over on the Apeiron side, with 6-6 for Bent. doing very well for themselves so far in this scrim, holding a 4-3 lead. Meanwhile, over on Empire, we actually have most of the tryouts leading, with Mara at 7-5, exciting, and I actually cried at 6-6, with Blubber and Trellis holding up the rear.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these kills and the scoreboard continues to change now that the sides have swapped. Perhaps some of these players who have been doing better on defense are going to do a little worse on offense, and vice versa. It looks so far like it'll be a default B push from the hatch from Empire here.
Let's see. And then also,
excuse me, it is middle floor. My apologies. They're rotating back down to that. Looks like a B side still, though.
Mm-hmm. And then for utility-wise, looks like we have more utility coming out from Empire on offense with some incendiaries, some frags, and even a flashbang coming out. We saw them use that flashbang to blind Mara when they were last alive on this floor. You know, maybe being able to return the favor here with Mara holding the flash. Looks like Droner checking upstairs, not able to see that roam because he's far enough back. Argonaut seeming to specialize in these long roams. We saw that in the Valor match as well as here. Argonaut checking all his corners very patiently and carefully. Empire waiting to blow these walls until a little later in the round, not opting to go for fast pushes here, and not giving Empire any sound cues really other than the drone. Have an offensive incendiary coming out from Empire here. And how do you think they're going to use their utility here? Exciting trying to push straight into the point. How do you think they're going to use their utility to close themselves off? Exciting's in a bad position here.
That gets 2 on the flank there. No one ended up watching that on Empire. Unfortunately, Blubber getting hard pushed from the wall. Exciting taking out Argonaut, but in a sticky situation and cannot get out of that corner, unfortunately. Giving Apeiron another win here. It's looking so far like Apeiron is taking a dominant lead for the most part. Empire is struggling to fight back, but it seems maybe some of that team coordination is not quite there. Perhaps because of the additional tryouts. There seem to be some gaps in the offense, is what I'm looking at so far.
Yeah, it looks like, you know, on these few rounds, we've had gaps in the offense and in the defense, obviously. Trying to work with new tryouts is always somewhat difficult for teams, especially, you know, even higher up. The higher up you get, the more standardized your plays get sometimes, and the more skill it takes to go along with those plays. You know, this may be a bit of a trial by fire for these 3 tryouts rather than getting to be on a team with 4 people who know how to work together. Getting tossed in a scrim with only 2 of these members may not give them a great showing for the team. With Apeiron having just Argonaut, a player who hasn't played as of late, but was playing for a while in Season 1, 2, and 0, they have it a bit better off with their tryout. Very split defense here from Apeiron all over the building. 2 on green hallway, and then moving to B as they hear that window outside gym being broken. 1 long room on Argonaut. Opting not to go downstairs now, sitting instead in kitchen. Looking like we have some very early utility here from Froke.
Yeah, not a lot of information before that grenade was tossed, although Froke seems to be getting aggressive on this flank here. Perhaps trying to recreate what happened to them when they were on defense, or offense, excuse me.
Like
Empire seemed to have hard pushed.
Some
Mara getting taken out by
trips.
trips.
That's odd. I've never seen that before. We had, I believe, Silver getting taken out by 1 trip, and it stayed after the fact. Not Silver, sorry.
Wow.
So 1 trip killed, and then 1 trip stayed. There were 2 trips stacked on there, so the second trip was able to hit another one of these Empire members. What an unlucky timing there. Great incendiary from Apeiron.
Did a bit of a hop there before landing, but arguably it put it in a better spot, trapping Trellisai in gym. I'm not sure if they know he's stuck in there, but if they do, it's not looking good.
Looks like they think he's over on hatch rather than in gym. He doesn't get wall banged here. They might not know that wall is foamed. Trellis in a tough bind here. Holding the Marui, I would say save, but unfortunately on a 3-5 here, it would be a rough 4 rounds in a row to win, rather than only 3. But what do you do here on a 1v3?
In this situation, 43 seconds left. He does have EMP, so it's possible he might try to go for a sneaky plant somewhere. Although that door being door blocked kind of puts a nail in that coffin for pushing that. But if he gets the pick there, and he does through the door blocker, gets one in Canteen as well. But unfortunately, Froke was there as well for the refrag. That was a very close round.
It's really unfortunate on that double push. Idot coming through the chat again, talking on Apeiron's side, it looks like they have some good pinches when it comes down to closing on the enemies, but on the Empire side, it's like they mostly die to being by themselves or overextending a swing without a teammate, unfortunately. And that's what we've been seeing a lot, you know, especially in these scrims in the off season. I've been seeing a lot of teams overextending on these pushes rather than, you know, playing their numbers. Whenever I was watching Revenant scrim, they played a very good defense and offense here. They played with the buddy system typically, where, you know, you always had two people there able to get the refrag rather than getting split up. Looks like we have Empire going for a meta B push here, with Argonaut actually not rotating off point, instead with Silver off point, maybe trying to trade off a little bit. How do you think this flank from Silver is going to go with these two players pushing directly in that door?
Well, you say that, and yet it seems they've decided to split up and perhaps go different ways. But there is a drone coming out. It depends how thorough this drone flank check will be, or if the Apeiron players can catch it before it goes back. The drone is seeing people in this hallway, but doesn't seem to be checking the flank just yet. Instead, opting to push forward so far. So Silver seems to have sort of a golden ticket for this flank here if no one on Empire catches him out. An early nade catching nobody behind Janitor Cart. It looks like Blubber did find Silver, but did not manage to get the kill, with Silver just barely scraping a headshot off and managing to stim themselves back up.
Looking at the drones here from Trellis, we've been seeing some very aggressive droning here. What I mean by that is we've not been seeing too many flank checks. We've not been seeing anything back, just checking forward, checking the utility on the push, rather than checking to see if there's anyone behind, which can work out very well and can not. Looking like Empire going for a util bait here to get an incen out very early on that. Very well done by them in order to bait out a incendiary there, with Apeiron only holding on to 2 frags now rather than having that incendiary to block up point. Oh,
a well-placed nade, forcing Exciting out of that corner, forcing him right into the line of fire, evening up the amount of players, but not quite the health. Mara does get picked by Silver trying to swing in. If that wall was blown, perhaps that would have gone a little bit differently here. Both players on one side of this wall. Apeiron has a pretty dominant hold, although I actually cried getting across may be helpful. But it does take a lot of damage from Silver there on that peak.
I just think that overextension there from Mara was a bit of a blunder. You know, getting into the point with 3 people watching, just not a great move. And then Bent pushing, killing Trellis, Silver killing I Actually Cried, closing out the round. I feel like Mara may have swung the scales there a little bit by trying to push too far.
Too far, too early, perhaps, before that wall could have a chance to be blown. Both of Mara's teammates still a little too far back to really help. And I will say I got a message in my chat from the IGL of Empire saying simply, Empire sucks. And honestly, with this performance here today on Arctic, I have to stand by that. I'm seeing not a lot of coordination, and again, it could be from the tryouts, but you'd hope that from 2 team members being in that match, you could get some kind of coordinated hold, but it just didn't seem to come together for Empire. We may see some switching out, but we will take a quick look if that does happen.
Looking at the stats here, we have Silver up on a dominant lead with 13 and 6. Looks like maybe a 2.1 KD there, doing very well for his team with Froke, Pencil Sharpener, and Bent, as well as Argonaut pairing up the rear. Pretty even kill distribution other than Silver. Over in Empire, we have Mara, I Actually Cried, up at the top with Trellis, Exciting, and Blubber trailing behind. You know, looking at their performance on Arctic, it seems like Empire maybe just needs to get their feet under them a little bit, trying to work out the kinks with these tryouts, maybe thinking about switching some different people in, or keeping them in and just trying to work it out with everyone. How do you think the performance for Apeiron did on that map?
I'd say it was pretty good. I saw a lot more team coordination coming out from Apeiron than Empire, like we've said a couple times here. And it seems like maybe that utility usage was a little bit more coherent and thought out. It almost felt like Empire was using utility for the sake of using it, rather than using it to force players out of good spots. And hopefully Empire can learn from their mistakes this match before we get into this next map. We do see it looks like someone may be getting switched out. Looks like Mara is leaving the lobby for now, and we'll see who fills that slot.
Right, and then with that utility, talking about Apeiron's utility, they were using their utility very intelligently there with the grenade, especially on that last Arctic round, forcing them to push into the point rather than being able to back out. That's a very tight hallway to hold, especially if that wall is blown. You don't really have much choice in where you can go. You really need that wall to be blown in order to give yourself entrance to that point. I'm surprised, honestly, we didn't see a red room push from Empire. If they had done that, they could have tipped the scales a little bit.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. And when I tend to play on Arctic on offense there, I like to break that door no matter what, just so that the defenders have something to think about other than where we're pushing. Taking even just one defensive player off of that tight hold there, where there's only really two ways into the site, can really change up how you're allowed to push into that site, and maybe even take some utility away if they get a little bit too antsy about that red room.
Right, it's all about, sometimes in breachers, rather than the gunplay especially, it's about playing a mind game with your opponent sometimes, trying to go, all right, they think I'm going to go here, so how am I going to surprise them? With the meta pushes in the community especially, trying to convince another team that you're going somewhere else is going to be really, really difficult with the sound cues. But if you're able to break some windows, even throwing like your pistol in to make them think you're looting is an important step in getting them out. Looks like we have Weirdo Jr. coming in for Empire for this next map. I'm excited to see what this next map is going to be. Looks like we have another person switching in. We had just had a team switch.
Yeah, a team swap perhaps on accident. It looks like Apeiron will be sticking with defense and Empire offense as we move into the second map, Factory. I will say that in the past, Empire has not had a lovely history on Factory, lost a lot of matches against a lot of teams, but more recently has been stepping it up a little bit, figuring out the more meta pushes for Factory and being a little bit more coherent, although with 3 tryouts we'll see if that continues to be the case.
Right, and then looking at the stats here, I pulled up the stats for Empire, and yeah, you were saying, having 7 maps of Factory played and only winning 2 of those is an unfortunate record to hold here. With, however, it doesn't look as bad. Sorry, it doesn't look as bad as it sounds. With you winning still 45% of the rounds on there, that's not too bad when it comes to only winning 2. It looks like you just kind of got an unfortunate turnout with losing towards the end of a lot of those.
That would seem to be the case. Hopefully on this top floor we can see some of the meta pushes that tend to work out for a lot of players, mostly involving that hatch in storage, keeping an eye on that cubby. That's what I would say is a usual push here on the top floor, and it looks like it will be happening in some capacity. I am seeing IActuallyCry dropping down to check Tetris, although no one from Apeiron is there, playing a very defensive-sided defensive here. Only one player really off of this site in lockers.
Oh no. Bent appears to have lost his gun on top of the cabinet inside point. Apeiron essentially being down a player, unfortunately.
Perhaps some fisticuffs will emerge and we'll see some kind of wrestling match. Froke getting caught out by Exciting's nade, a very well-placed nade there. Silver taking some wallbang damage, but managing to squeak into that cubby could be dangerous for Empire if they don't check this properly.
Now, Bent getting trapped back there could have been real bad for him if Trellis had used that incendiary to take him out. Might have been bad usage, though, to hold him down alone. Trellis taking out Silver as soon as Silver takes out Exciting with that Taurus. If Bent can get over there, Bent can steal a weapon. Looks like Bent has taken the Spectral from his teammate's body. Stuck behind the cabinet here, taking out Trellis when he tried to push in on the incendiary. Going for a cubicle push here, a cubby push. IActuallyCry going for a quick plant, trying to get the hatch off. Weirdo getting taken out by a great grenade from Pencil Sharpener, getting pushed here. Getting shot.
Try going down, and that's the end of Empire. I think that nade was almost an accidental kill. I believe it was intended for the planter, but it went a little too far and ended up catching him out in storage there. A little bit unfortunate, but very lucky for Apeiron.
It's funny, it was almost like a cartoon. You see Weirdo Jr. peeking the room and then realizing there's a grenade at his feet, almost doing a double take. Sometimes looking at Breacher's gameplay, you think, how high up are these players? Then you look at it, everyone at the end of the day, just all you have are sound cues. So if you hear a grenade hit, you don't know where it went until you look down and see it between your feet, and by then it's too late.
For sure. Audio being very important. I'm liking seeing Apeiron spread out a little bit, even this early in the round. You can hear rappels and footsteps if the attacking team isn't too cautious about the noise they're making. Especially on gravel here as Trell steps up there. If Trell walks around a little too much, Silver may be able to hear it.
I think we may have Weirdo rotating around, maybe to the B window, actually rotating in downstairs, heading up through lobby. Might be going for a flank. Looks like we don't have a counter flank from Apeiron to opting to stay on points other than Argonaut on the stairs. Maybe watching the flank here on stairs, rotating back to point. An odd move here to have Trellis on the gravel. Not something you see very much in competitive play, I would say. Froke now
It's a very dangerous spot.
Froke now knowing there's someone out on that gravel, deciding to peek it regardless. And taking out Trellis on a great kill. Looks like we have a standard A push.
Seeing Weirdo Jr. coming up this orange stair flank maybe, but getting caught before he even checks it by Bent. If no one helps him out, this may be the end of Weirdo Jr. here. Bent chasing down the kill. Will he spot him? No, but Weirdo Jr. pre-fires. I'm assuming Bent heard that and is just choosing to flee.
Where is Bent going?
Push that. Weirdo Jr. getting honestly quite lucky there. Silver taking out. I actually cried over on that doorway there. I am seeing a lot of damage on both teams and only one stim on defense. From Bent as well. That could be why Bent decided to flee.
Exciting, playing an Incendiary, getting a great placement on the Incendiary, blocking off an entire half of the point, opting not to go for the plant, but going for the push, leaving him clear for Bent to just take him out. What a unfortunate push there from, an odd push from Exciting, almost. I'm not quite sure.
Seems the defense is in control of the hatch. I almost wonder if Exciting didn't realize he had the EMP until it was called out just a little bit too late. Blubber catching Silver, making it a 2v1, although health is interesting as Blubber does take down Froke from those orange stairs there. That round could have gone very, very differently, especially because of that Exciting plant in a very odd spot.
Very odd spot, especially on that push, planting in the middle with your back turned to connector is not something you're going to see very often. Unless you have control of that connector. They did not have very good control of that connector, and that could have ended very, very badly. Luckily, clutching it out now on a 1-1 here. Looking at the early stats for the game, Bent leading on a 3-1 here with 2-2 from Silver. Stats very spread out over on Empire with only deviance of about 1. I actually cried looking to have a little bit of ping. For the buy-wise here, the economy, what do you think of the economy here from both teams? I'm seeing some rifles, some SMGs, and a rill.
I'm seeing a lot of buys from Apeiron that I would see before that huge change to the gun meta. But on the Empire side, I feel like you can really see that change reflected in their buys. And a rill is not a choice I would have seen before that big switch up, but now it's a viable option, especially with the price reduction, especially when you need to kill someone relatively quickly. And an SMG sometimes just won't cut it on those longer range maps, which I will say the B floor, the site here on the bottom floor, B site, can be a longer range map if you're pushing from storage. Weirdo Jr. getting an early pick onto Froke. I didn't actually see where that was. Looks like on the roam upstairs.
It was the roam upstairs. Weirdo managing to be at the door at the right time, at the right place, with Froke trying to peek through, claiming them on hatch. So Weirdo able to hold it off and claiming a Vezin for himself when he had an Omen before. Talking about that balance change, having the Marui buy from Empire rather than the Vezin could be what allows them to get this off, with the Marui gaining some damage here. Silver getting a great flank off, taking out Blubber and Exciting, getting taken out by Trellis, evening up the numbers, now on a 3v3 with health advantage belonging to Empire. Argonaut stuck in the wooden cubby here.
Great Incendiary taking out Bent behind the bomb. A push in, but Argonaut catches it, swings, gets Weirdo Jr. Trellis gets the refrag, and a 1v1 now. Pencil Sharpener knows where Trellis is, but does Trellis know? And it seems like he does. Incin dealing a lot of damage here, changing up the situation.
And unfortunately, Pencil just accidentally stepping in that Incendiary while it was still there, lowering him his health very much, trying to go back through Connector, regroup a little bit maybe. Trellis not quite sure where he is, maybe not hearing that Connector run. Very cautious coming into point, maybe getting caught off guard here by Pencil coming out of the other side of Connector. Finding a stim on the ground, luckily. Trellis maybe trying to go for a plant here. Could get seen.
Starting. Will he hear him? He must at this point.
Looking like a fake plant, trying to get some audio off on Pencil to know where he is. Now patiently waiting by this door.
From Trellis, not shooting the hands he sees to try to bait Pencil Sharpener in, but Pencil Sharpener doesn't fall for it just yet.
He is going to run out of time here. Luckily, he gets the plant off with Pencil and Trellis playing Ringer on the Rosie. Trellis winning it out. A great headshot and play spacing from both players. Trellis looking to wipe some sweat off his forehead there, getting pretty stressed, his hand shaking quite a bit.
That was a very close round there. Any piece of utility on the defender side that could have forced Trellis out of that bomb plant spot could have ended the round for Empire. But it seems that the utility just wasn't in the right spots for Pencil Sharpener to get it, or it just didn't exist. I wonder if maybe we'll see some more utility. We saw some great utility that round earlier on, and perhaps all of that great utility usage ended up getting Empire the round win there. We're back to the middle floor, it seems like. Almost a team meeting on Apeiron here in the Connector.
It is interesting. You know, I've been seeing Empire swapping to Vezin rather than Marui. But also, you know, looking at these two teams, Empire playing a better game than they were on Arctic, maybe getting some teamwork in here with these tryouts. I'm not quite sure how this is going to work out, but one thing I haven't been seeing from either team is, you know, smuggling utility to the last bit of the round. If the defenders can smuggle some utility, you know, an Incendiary to the last 30 seconds if it gets there, you can, you know, block off 2/3 of the entire game, and by then, most likely the EMP is down. You can win the game for yourself just based off of blocking the whole point off. I haven't seen too much of that. Looks like we have counterflanks here from Argonaut and Weirdo Jr. Weirdo Jr. watching that flank and not seeing it just barely, but not getting any hits off. Argonaut trapped upstairs with these two Empire players. Will they choose to hunt? Wasting some utility here.
Honestly, in a situation like that, that might be all Argonaut can hope for if Empire does choose to close in on him, but it doesn't look like they are. Wasting that nade was a really great outcome for Argonaut, but letting him push farther up is even better. Taking an Empire player off of the main push and dedicated to watching that flank would be very good, although Bent gets caught out on a bit of an aggressive push there, it seems like. Exciting and actually cried down below, foaming the wall. Blubber drops the hatch and gets taken out by Silver.
Looks like Empire may have been banking on the fact that Argonaut would take a while to crouch up, able to push straight in on a 5v4 rather than on a 5v5. Maybe playing the flank a little bit there very well. Weirdo Jr. now watching the flank so that Argonaut can't gain control of hatch. Exciting, taking out Pencil Sharpener while Aisha tried taking out Silver. Now the flanker, the only one alive, with Weirdo Jr. knowing exactly where he is. And taking him out, claiming this round for Empire, now at a 3-1 lead, with their economy squarely doing very well.
I will say Blubber does appear to be a little bit low on cash, but hopefully the rest of the Empire team will kid him out with their excess money. I am seeing some eco buys from Apeiron, an interesting choice to have some full buys and some eco on this second to last round. I think it could be better for Apeiron to perhaps in this 3-1 situation sacrifice one round so they can have a much better chance at the second round. because if this round doesn't go Apeiron's way, they're in a very precarious situation eco-wise for this last round, as Froke has $0 and Argonaut and Bent are low enough where I'm not sure they could buy a rifle next round, which could place them in not a great situation for this last round where I would say Empire is almost guaranteed to have a full buy for every player on their team.
I think one of the most egregious things we're seeing right now is we have 3 roamers here from Apeiron, with Argonaut having to hold B point alone when teams know that they're gonna push storage. What an odd choice here from Apeiron, leaving Argonaut alone on the point.
Bit of a gamble, but last time we were on this floor, there was an incredible roam coming down, catching 2 players from Empire. So if things go the same way this round, it could be even worse. Argonaut does take out actually Cried, and there's already an early flank here from Bent coming in. We'll see who he catches, because no one's watching. Takes out Lover, takes out Weirdo Jr., and Exciting. So
Where are the comms?
That the roam paid off. They don't seem to exist. It's almost as if, I don't even know, maybe voice comms are delayed. Trell does manage to find one, and Apeiron is very aggressive here, but I'm wondering why Empire had no one watching that flank. It's almost been a routine for Apeiron to have a player on flank, and yet no one was watching that.
Bit of a misplay here, especially with the communications there. You hear shots from behind you, you hear a teammate die. I'm surprised none of them just stopped and turned around to look, especially if they're behind cover from the point. It's not like you're in the middle of the point trying to watch 5 things at once. You know, fortunate play there from Empire. Trellis now forced to go alone and reclaim EMP, especially with 3 of these Apeiron players alive. This may get Apeiron to a 2-3. Trellis not really needing to save, able to buy for next round. Trellis maybe having an encounter with Pencil here very quickly. These players not knowing they passed by each other.
Wow.
Oh my.
That was close, but Trellis just managed to find the kill. I wonder how they're gonna talk about that if they watch the stream back. That may be a moment to pause that in the VC afterwards and ask some questions. I will say that maybe that flank atrocity that happened to Empire could have been maybe from too many comms. Perhaps there were too many things being said and not enough room for people to really hear what was happening. Froke going really fast, taking out Silver, but Froke does find him. A very aggressive push there as the time was counting down, and it almost worked out.
He almost caught them off guard there. If Froke was just a little closer to his teammate, he might have gotten that off, being able to flick, but unfortunately with Froke being almost, you know, perpendicularly behind him, that's a rough thing to push.
Yeah, and now that they did take that round, Apeiron is looking pretty good economy-wise, only Argonaut being unable to buy a rifle here. Empire does have full buys and plenty of money for utility, so I'm curious to see how much defensive utility we'll really see. Although saying that, Froke does have quite a healthy bank account right now, perhaps able to lend a little money to his team for some utility to help try to win this last round. If they tie it up on Factory here while they're on defense, it's not a terrible spot to be in.
Trellis holding down a 3.0 KD for his team, putting out a great showing for Empire here, especially heading into switch rounds. Switching onto defense can be really good for Empire, getting their feet under them, maybe getting warmed up on offense, moving quickly. Getting into the round here, we have a meta push on Tetris as well as this hallway outside A. Exciting dropping in. The drone, again, going in and not checking the flank at all.
2 drones, in fact, which is something I'm not really excited to see from Empire. Both looking at the same angle for a little bit, although the drone does see Silver on the flank, not Bent, but at least they know someone's there. And they seem to be going fast, and Blubber gets taken out. Actually tried getting one, doing a bit of a lean there to get away from Bent's rifle, but it does work out.
I'm not quite sure from Empire why we're full pushing that locker room. If you can just hold it down with some utility, that'd be better than pushing straight in. Pushing on a disadvantage with almost no information. Really unfortunate. Argonaut trapped behind that cabinet with Incendiary. If it was only a few inches to the left, he could have been taken out there.
Aggressive push here. Taking out Pencil Sharpener. Does he check behind him? He does. Takes out Argonaut. unfortunately, no one seemed to be holding his flank well enough, and Froke takes out both Weirdo Jr. and Trellis High. It looks like the last Empire players are maybe making noise on the B side. It seems like Apeiron doesn't really know where they're gonna push. Exciting pushing through that doorway, holding this cubby. Hopefully we'll see a plant go down, but nothing's happening quite yet.
Cubby being played here. No one up on the box. Froke going for an early push. Bent maybe able to take down Exciting as he pushes around. We'll see. Bent taking down Exciting now on a 1v1 ground up on the box, but getting heard by I Actually Cried, and I Actually Cried able to take him down on the box. Empire leading 4-2 on switch round here, doing very well for themselves. And Trellis High up at 11-4 now.
That is a great spot for Empire to be. I'm happy they managed to get another round there. It would have been a pretty precarious spot for them.
And especially on Factory, switching onto defense. Very, very good here for Empire. Able to maybe relax a little bit now that they are being pushed rather than pushing. And hearing these sound cues, very spread out, looking to have 2 roamers upstairs. With I Actually Cried and Weirdo Jr. both upstairs. What are you thinking about these tryouts here for Empire so far? What are your initial thoughts?
Well, I'm definitely seeing some good representation of the tryouts. Trellis High putting up some really good numbers here. I will say on Arctic I was a little bit less happy. There were definitely some aggressive pushes and a lack of coordination, but it seems to be coming back together on Factory. But it has me wondering, is it really better communications than Arctic, or is Trellis High simply doing more than the other tryouts, and that's helping Empire take the lead so far?
Right, and looking at the tryouts here for Apeiron, or tryout rather, Argonaut has been doing pretty well consistently in these last few scrims. But it looks like he's continuing the trend now as well. Looking like we still have Weirdo Jr. up on the roam, not getting droned out. Meanwhile, looking at these teams here, a very spread out push here from Apeiron, having Silver on the stairs, having Bent coming up to him. We had Froke come in from Assembly getting killed, and then Pencil seemingly chasing Weirdo on the roam. They could get individual picks off here, and that's what Empire is doing, just picking off these players one at a time rather than getting double push. Pencil, none the wiser, getting a great info peek off on Weirdo and taking him out, with Silver pushing in on Blubber, evening up the numbers to a 3v3, with Pencil now able to hold Hatch undaunted. Exciting, trying to take one as he leans out the window, with Pencil getting a great lean peek here on Exciting. Well played by him.
Down to the last Empire player. For a moment, it was looking like they had fixed their mistakes, but the EMP is thrown in, which is a strange move. Trellis High doesn't catch it, and they think they might get the EMP, but he catches Silver on the way in. Bent can grab it, it looks like, and he does. For a moment there early on in the round, it seemed like Empire had fixed their mistakes of playing too many 1v1s and not playing together, but that seems to have fallen apart after Apeiron finally grouped up. Bent will maybe get this plant down, it looks like. Trying to bait, but Trell on the flank. Pushing up towards Hatch, it looks like.
Personally, I feel like I would have pushed that a little bit more aggressively, seeing as, you know, the hatch is open. Trell being not hidden from this hatch will have to do something. Apeiron able to just bide their time here. Bent thinking it's a fake defuse here. Might lose the round and loses the round.
Empire just barely squeaks by there. As they say, pros don't fake, and that worked out for Empire right then, just right down to the wire too.
I'd say, you know, maybe down to a few milliseconds there. We saw the plant finish just as soon as he died. Very well played from Trellis there, almost faking a fake plant. As odd as that is to say, Empire leading 5-2 with a very lucky ending defuse there, winning the round with no one alive.
Truly a great feat from someone who has to disarm the EMP. I'm excited to see if Apeiron can claw this back. Brent does not seem to be force buying, so I'm curious if there will be some additional utility being bought to help Apeiron maybe claw back some rounds here before Empire gets too much of a head start on them. But I'm not seeing a lot so far, honestly, from either sides in terms of utility this early on, which could really shake up this round, although Empire does have a slight advantage here in terms of utility. It just matters if they will use it in the right situations.
Looking like we have an Omen save here from Apeiron. Pretty smart by them. An offensive Incendiary coming out, not able to catch anyone, with I actually tried taking out Argonaut. With it looking like Apeiron calling an A rotate, unfortunately calling it at a bad time with multiple Empire members sitting in that point. Silver stuck outside because of this Incendiary with Trellis taking out Froke after Froke takes out Exciting. I actually cried. Down to 4 health. Looks like
Not a
even
great nade from Idot Jr. there.
Looks like even though Apeiron has less members, they actually have the health advantage here. Well, Trellis takes out Silver, losing the health advantage. Pencil taking out I Should Cry, getting taken out by Blubber. Empire now at a 6-2 lead here on Factory, maybe, you know, picking up their stride and getting their mojo back a bit for this round. Now, Apeiron in a tough bind, having to win 5 rounds in a row.
That is going to be an incredible feat if I see it here. It would be very disappointing as a member of Empire, but to be honest, it wouldn't entirely surprise me. We've seen great teamwork come out of Apeiron on Arctic. It just feels like maybe something's fallen apart a little bit, or maybe Empire has just gotten themselves back together and dusted themselves off after Arctic and have really put in the work, perhaps, to work better together. I will say, on that last round that we just watched there, I think what really hurt Apeiron was that they weren't ready for Empire to push aggressively after blowing that wall. It's something that I don't see super often, but when I do see it, it does tend to work out fairly well. When you're on offense and you blow those walls, you're kind of expecting for you to have to peek, and maybe you're not ready to be swung while on offense.
Right, and it seems like from Apeiron here, we have a Tetris push. A very quick push in for Pencil that doesn't work out. And Tetris being dropped here by both Silver and Bent. I actually cried holding this locker room alone. Getting pushed in on by Silver, getting taken out with Exciting choosing not to go to get the refrag, staying in point. Maybe a smart choice with how the utility is right now. Idot Jr. rotating around to assist him. A wall getting blown. And Cubby, it looks like an A push here from Apeiron, getting flanked by Exciting, but getting taken out. Maybe a B rotate here. Froke going in alone, getting taken out.
Trip.
Oh no! Blubber taking out Froke. EMP now dropped in lockers, but Blubber choosing, maybe not even knowing EMP is dropped there. Apeiron not overly concerned about going and getting it with Weirdo, hearing them push up.
Trellis High gets forced out of hiding by an Incendiary and taken out. Some good utility from Apeiron here. More trips going off. Argonaut going for the plant, and we're not seeing any reaction from Empire. Maybe looking to save with 2 rifles with this round advantage they have, but then again, maybe not. We're seeing some aggression here. And Argonaut getting a team kill, but also picking up Blubber. Maybe not the best way to get it killed, but it works out for now. They do have the numbers advantage, and they honestly almost have a gun advantage too. Idot Jr. alone with a Vezin versus 2 Vezins.
I do feel that at this point, if I were Idot Jr., I'm up 4 rounds and I don't have great economy. I would just save behind that door blocker, which seems like that's what he's going to be doing. You know, saving behind that door blocker on a scrim, you know, there's not much riding on it. Being able to save that save that rifle to the next round will, you know, set them up a lot better than maybe getting a pick and then getting taken down, not able to buy a rifle that next round.
Argonaut searching for the pick too.
Yeah, Argonaut was coming through the locker room. Weirdo is most likely glad he didn't wait any longer. Looking like we have a 6-3 lead here from Empire. able to buy, maybe not force buy here with Blubber going for an Aril rather than anything else. Trellis maybe going for, I would almost go for a pistol save if I were Trellis, trying to really preserve my money here rather than, rather than almost waste basically all of my money trying to buy and allowing Empire to snowball into these few rounds.
Yeah, realistically here, Empire is up rounds, and the buys I'm seeing now from them don't really make a lot of sense. They're going against 4 rifles here, while they only have 2 of their own, and they're left with their economy almost in shambles here if they lose this round. I would say that if Empire doesn't pick this round up and end the match right here, they're in a tough spot for these next few rounds. It could have been wiser to maybe give up a round so that they can all have rifles, maybe force. Although I actually tried taking out Bent on that flank there early. That was Empire's pistol player, which takes out one of their rifles, although I believe they traded it for a Viper.
It was a Viper.
All 4 rifles.
But the numbers trade there is what's important. You know, we traded out rather than only having one member dropped. Luckily for Apeiron, it was only a Viper. Looks like we have Froke watching the flank for a moment before deciding it's not worth it. Some trips getting seen here, getting baited by Frokes that they can't get out the wall. Blubber hearing it, trying to wallbang, not getting it off. We have multiple players here on the gravel with Exciting holding this bathroom down very carefully, trying to hold off Assembly and War Room. Blubber taking out Pencil Sharpener.
2 from behind the bomb.
Silver.
Almost a third, but taken out by Froke. Froke with 2, almost 3. And Exciting on that bathroom hold does get, or no, Weirdo Jr. actually got all of them. Exciting just kind of standing back and watching as that all happened in front of him. I think it's interesting. It's very intriguing that Empire managed to squeak that out with such a honestly gun disadvantage there. They only had 2 rifles versus Apeiron's 3, and yet they still managed to pull it off, partly due to Blubber with that Oril behind the bomb. We're seeing that Oril really get some prominent featuring here from Empire, it seems like.
Yeah, obviously with that balance change there, we're seeing the Oril come out a little bit more, which is really nice to see. But especially that early numbers trade there worked out very well for Empire, along with having, the members stay on point rather than roam all the way around, allowed them to play numbers even if they were down, allowing them to claim that map. Looking at the scores, looks like we did have an Apeiron member drop. But we have Trellis leading 15-7 over a 2.0 KD, being followed by Blubber and the rest. Looks like we have an Empire member dropping out, and then a sub coming in for Apeiron, it looks like. Looking at Factory, next map is going to be Hideout. Hideout
That is an interesting choice. It's a real classic, and honestly, I would say maybe the map that most competitive players know. It seems to be picked a lot, not only in the league, although it is banned just as often, but in the competitive game mode as well. I feel like 9 times out of 10, I'm playing a Hideout match when I queue into that, so I'm interested to see where maybe these Apeiron players have just as much experience on Hideout as Empire. And with their large amount of tryouts, it may be enough to even the scales after that Factory match.
Right, and then, because looking at the stats here for Empire, Hideout is one of your guys' best maps, playing it 9 times, winning 6 of those, playing 87 rounds, and winning 50 of them to 57% win rate, only outdone by Ship. It looks like, if this was an Apeiron pick, it looks like an odd pick here, trying to maybe gauge their performance. Looks like we have a member dropping from both sides. I believe this match should be continuing, just waiting for some fills. Looking like we have Argonaut coming back in.
Apeiron getting their 5th back in here. We'll see if Empire can manage to do the same. It'll be interesting to see this on Hideout, and also interesting, I'm curious whose map pick this was. I would argue that it's really a toss-up whether offense is or defense is better on Hideout. I'd say it really depends on the floor. So I'm curious which side picked map and which side picked side.
And looking in my chat here, I have Blizz Winner 50 saying, sorry for selling, guys, got a little bit of a fever. I'm not sure who that is, but maybe one of these players. Looks like we have Mara coming back in for Empire, maybe getting their tryout back in, wanting to have someone else in for that last map, then getting them back in for Hideout.
I'm interested to see how that will go, because if I recall, Mara tended to be a bit of an aggressive player, but did have the kills to back it up a lot of the time. I'm curious if now that Empire seems to have gotten their coordination under control, if Mara can almost be honed in a way to focus that killing power into a strategic plan as opposed to a frantic fight.
Right, because what we were seeing in the first few rounds on Arctic when Mara was here, we were seeing Mara roam a little bit and then deciding to swap to holding points, and you were saying, you know, maybe a little bit of a frantic gunfighter rather than trying to be calm and collected. We'll see how that works out here. For Apeiron's economy, it looks like we have some utility coming out with a drone and breaching foam, almost the staples for any team. If they don't have that, what do they have, really? With Empire bringing out some defensive utility here with some trip mines from Trellis. Looking like we have a standard garage push, maybe, from Apeiron. Having a Taurus come out, actually, as well as Trellis on a Jesper save, buying a lot of utility, it seems.
I mean, on a map like Hideout, when you know it well enough, as common as it is, it might be worth it to maybe forego your shooting ability for a little bit more stalling, especially on defense. An incredible nade from Exciting, taking out 2 outside garage, putting down that play. Bent does get, I actually cried in that laundry hallway. But this numbers game is not looking good for Apeiron right off the bat. Perhaps that Jesper save was just as important as it seemed to be. We do see Argonaut creeping in through A, though. Will Trellis High be able to catch him? I'm not sure. I don't think he will. This could be bad for Empire.
Yeah, we have Argonaut very slowly making his way in. Trellis High not catching him. Argonaut missing a few shots, but able to get the kill off. Now flanking, Exciting taking out Bent and Pencil Sharpener, but Argonaut now alone against Trellis and Mara. Mara out in garage, doing another flank. Getting taken out by Argonaut, leaving Argonaut very low. Argonaut knowing Trellis behind the bomb, but Trellis able to take him out. Mara flanking there through garage, most likely saving Trellis here, giving him some valuable information.
That was an incredible round for Exciting there. Getting a nade double kill followed by a great push out. Almost winning the round if he had turned back around in time and expected Argonaut back there. Or at least maybe had his gun up when peeking that. That could have been an ace from Exciting on round 1 here. Which is quite incredible if we had seen that. Especially with the pistols having a much longer time to kill.
Right, and then, you know, with the push from Apeiron, it left them at a bit of a disadvantage, getting killed from so far off. Looking at the push this time, we have what looks to be just a meta B push with Bent maybe looking to go in on the Skylight. Very spread out push here from Apeiron, almost going for a 3-1-1 rather than maybe a 3-2. Pencil Sharpener going in over by the stairs. We have one roamer, Trellis, sitting in the garage, hearing that Apeiron player enter, maybe getting droned out here.
I believe he has been spotted by this spam pinging from the droner Silver. He's kind of stuck here from those 2 players. Gets some incredible damage off, but does get wallbanged a little bit. If Trell gets away from this with his life, this has been honestly almost more valuable than a kill.
Honestly, and also, Trell canceling out that information, even if he did die here. One, Trell baited that drone away from the garage as well, allowing Mara to continue on this flank. You know, the double flank here may be working out, even if he didn't really get too much done physically, he did get some great utilities done for his team. Looks like Master Killer very low from a push into this storage hallway. Argonaut upstairs looking to blow the hatch. Blowing the hatch, Mara slowly and steadily creeping her way up to the hatch. Argonaut not even paying attention to it, not even knowing that Mara is there. Getting taken out here, giving Mara an omen, now leaving Mara alone, however, on defense. Managing to hold... Oh, no! Mara gets one kill off and just goes to reload rather than trying to get some cover. Bit of a misplay from Mara to hold down the point.
That was a very interesting round. Early on, I thought Empire almost had it in the bag, but it almost feels like they went back to playing those 1v1s yet again, and that seemed to cost them the round. I mean, down Waterfall Stairs, we had a double push by Apeiron, and there were 2 Empire players holding it, but one of them got grenaded and had to back off, and the other one swung and got taken out, leaving the last one in a 1v1 down there. And unfortunately, they lost. Maybe some better communications on timing there could have saved them. Exciting then got pinched in that storage doorway into sight, and there was nothing really left for Mara to do, being the last one.
Speaking of, Mara seems to have dropped from the match. Maybe some connection issues over on Empire. Looking at the score here, other than Mara, we have Exciting and Silver holding on 4 kills for their teams. And then Argonaut at 3 and 2 very early on. Apeiron looking pretty strong economy-wise. Pencil Sharpener going for an odd Jesper save here on round 3?
I'm curious if a lot of the util for Apeiron was then bought by Pencil Sharpener, which could have been an interesting move. It may be to guarantee some rifles for the rest of Apeiron's players. Argonaut does catch actually cried early into B. This is looking fast. Argonaut's pushing really quickly into this connector here. Doesn't get damage on Exciting, but now they have the site.
EMP getting planted very early. A very early push here. Only about 30 seconds in, already having EMP down. Playing this very well, especially as Empire's down a player with Weirdo Jr. doing bot takeover for a scrim. Some of the privileges you get from scrimming here. Silver trying a 1v1 and getting triple pushed here. Trellis biding his time, waiting for that incendiary. Apeiron using these incendiaries to great effect, unfortunately not staggering them, making sure that they go off at the same time, unfortunately. Argonaut taking out Exciting on the flank with Trellis and Weirdo Jr. pushing together. Master taking out Trellis. And now Weirdo Jr. alone, almost incendiaring himself. Weirdo taking out Bent with a grenade. Unfortunately, just not enough time on the clock for Empire to win this round. You know, what do you think of that quick push there from Apeiron? May have taken Empire off guard, right?
Completely, I'd say. I mean, when I see that top floor on Hideout, I generally assume it's going to be an A, and I feel like Empire over-expected that almost. There were 4 players on that A site, it looked like, and they just got stuck in connector. There was nothing they could do with those improved 15-second insins that do not really get bugged anymore. And honestly, after that, it kind of felt like a guarantee for Apeiron. They had plant down, they had the same amount of members, I believe, or maybe more, and it kind of was over for Empire once they took that B site. Hopefully we can see a better hold of both sites and less of a concentration of players after that buy phase ends. But we do see Mara reconnecting for Empire, which should hopefully help them spread out a little bit more and maybe not depend on the bot to hold the flank.
I say, much to Trellis' chagrin, looks like Trellis had a Jesper hoping to kill the bot and take their Aril. Looking like we have Mara on flank upstairs. Weirdo Jr. almost getting taken out immediately by Pencil Sharpener, while Exciting takes out Argonaut. A very early kill. Droner heading upstairs, not seeing any flanks. Probably not even having enough time to go see Mara even. But early numbers advantage for Empire.
See, I actually cried missing Pencil Sharpener deep over by Arcade for now. Although Mara should hear that drop and be communicating that. But do they expect 2 there is the question.
One thing is, Mara unfortunately just didn't have the trigger discipline there to not try to shoot at them and reveal their position. Trellis getting taken out by Master after taking out Silver. These trips are still up in storage. Looking like they get taken out here. Weirdo Jr. very, very low. Mara using very early Incendiary here. I'm not sure why we're going for these early Incendiaries on Empire. It just seems like such a waste on a minute and 23. Apeiron can honestly just bide their time and wait. They don't have to do anything. And then...
Yeah, unfortunately, Empire just seems to be using utility a little bit too early and maybe giving up where they are with that throw. I do think that was a tough situation for Empire there, losing control of storage and outside of the wall. They were really forced into that deep corner, which is not a great spot to be, but it definitely could be played a little bit better. I'm missing some of the team coordination that we saw getting picked up by Empire on Factory after they had kind of let down on that on Arctic. It seems like we're maybe back down to that 1v1 mentality, it almost seems like. And once again on the top floor, it is early in the buy phase, but I'm seeing a large concentration. Oh my god, I said that very strangely. Concentration of Empire players on A site so far, so I'm hoping they don't make the same mistake yet again and let Apeiron just take the B site from them.
I think we have the players spreading out. Argonaut hoping to go for a Skylight push here. I'm seeing 4 players on roof. Their 5th is nowhere to be seen.
Looks like over in the front door below now, and Empire not having much in B again. Although Pencil Sharpener gets 2 on the doorway there, not looking good. And now the rotate to A is coming in, but Argonaut doing the exact same move as last time. I'm not sure Empire's ready for that. Lots of utility coming out, gonna take out Trell. Is not looking good for Empire. Argonaut moving slowly. Trell does take out Pencil Sharpener with the trips though. The question is, does Empire think there's a flank here? I think that'll really shape this round. We're seeing not much utility, but Exciting can grenade this. Does Trell look at the flank? I think not.
Oh,
and down he goes. And Exciting doesn't have time to get his gun up. I saw him reach for his rifle and aim his hands like he had it, but unfortunately he had a pistol that round, I believe, and grabbed perhaps the wrong spot on his chest there.
Unfortunately.
Truly unfortunate.
Weirdo also whiffing a grenade onto the tub, onto the Incendiary. Just, unfortunately, Empire having a series of events there that just led to their downfall in that round. Down 3 rounds on Switch is not great, especially having to have a soft buy from Trellis there rather than being able to get a rifle. Pencil Sharpener buying out all of this utility for Apeiron, very confidently going into this round on a full buy. Maybe
yeah, I'm seeing still some money left over for Empire, so I'm hoping to see something similar from them. It does appear they're being handed some utility. I'm not sure they're allowed to use that from the game, but if they could, it certainly would be a game changer for them, perhaps.
I'm seeing Pencil passing some breaching foam to the opposite team. Looking like we have Trellis upstairs. I don't know at this point, if you're down 3 rounds, especially with a player now down, Bent taking on I Actually Cried, I don't know if I would be sitting upstairs, especially where it takes such a long time to get to point from where Trell is. I don't know if I would be playing this, because now my team is on a 5v3 with that wall about to be blown into B. It's such a tough place to hold. Exciting, unfortunately, getting no hits off on Silver and Pencil. A great Incendiary from Empire, almost taking out both Silver and Pencil. Master Killer very low. Trellis now pushing down the stairs. I think he needs to push a little bit faster if he wants to really get that off.
Empire just has to hold a little bit longer, and he might be able to get that off, but he is being held by Bent. Lots of trades on site here, but Apeiron is coming out on top so far. A little bit more util, but no one's holding anymore. Trell is pushing behind, and no one seems to realize just yet, but Argonaut might catch him. This is going to be a tough fight for Empire, but if Trell plays this right, this could change the round up massively.
Trellis thinking about waiting and not killing Argonaut. Looking like we have switch here. Now Silver low.
Wow.
Empire claiming this round now at 2-4. Doing very well. you know, Trellis using that flank to his advantage, taking out 2 of these players in the hallway, having the trigger discipline to wait until they can see multiple people since he's not being seen, even demonstrating for his teammates what happens.
Putting on a show, perhaps. Making some kind of recreation. I am excited to see that really well-played flank from Trell. I think it's really important to see that kind of trigger discipline from players, where sometimes it's just not worth it to take the first bullet you can. And without that, I'm not really sure Empire had a chance there, but Trell getting a double kill on that flank really switched up the odds for Empire and put the last player for Apeiron in a pretty precarious situation, stuck in laundry.
Looks like we have Trellis going for a Jesper save here, with Silver going for a Taurus. Pretty standard buy that we've seen from Apeiron so far. You know, Spectrals and Tauruses, along with 2 frag grenades. No incendiaries from the defense here. An odd choice for pistol rounds, but maybe they're just thinking it's worth it since they're up 2 rounds. And I'm seeing a breaching foam, but no drone from Empire. An odd choice here. Looks like we have an early gym push here on B. No one going upstairs, opting to just stay down.
Silver just take out Mara really quickly on that little head peek there. A bad nade from Inciting kind of puts down a lot of that util. 2 more players go down after a quick hatch drop. It's not looking good for Empire with both, excuse me, both players on that storage door there so far. It's Silver getting some great utility out of that Taurus.
Silver seeming to drop some frames as well, maybe at a bit of a disadvantage on this peak. Bent sitting at 1 health, and the other team could fart on him and he would die. Like, there's not much he can do at this level of health. Weirdo getting taken out by Master Kill, getting triple pushed here out that wall. And we're seeing some body shooting from Apeiron here, maybe feeling a little more confident about their chances.
Yeah, it's not the kind of thing that you always like to see in any gameplay in a SCRIM, but to be honest, the way that Empire is playing together here, I'm not entirely sure that they don't deserve it in some way. It almost feels like I'm watching a competitive game get played here with people who just don't really know what they're doing together. It seems like there's maybe an issue with communication with Empire, an issue with placement, I'm not really sure, but we saw them do really well on Factory with not only their 1v1 fights, but their coordination as well, and somehow that's been dropped between maps, which is not really looking good for them, especially with Apeirion's dominant 5-2 lead in the second half here. I don't see a lot of utility on Empire's side either to compensate, but it looks like Apeiron is buying enough to stop an A plant over near that doorway, which is fairly common.
I do hate to say it, but it looks like you may have been incorrect on that thought that Trellis won't be leading into Hideout. Trellis holding a 7-5 here. Maybe putting up a great showing for his team. Rotating in from Wine Cellar, watching the shower window, though. Kind of an odd choice here. Almost getting taken down by Bent really early. Maybe I'm eating my words a little bit here. An odd thing to try to hold that shower window down from the ground. I'm not quite sure why Trellis was going for that. A very early incendiary there, not even passing the 2-minute barrier here. Silver going for a great peek, going through the incendiary to kill Exciting on the plant. EMP now down.
Argonaut
2 grenades! Oh my goodness. I actually cried is so lucky that grenade did not take him out. It rolled between the door, between the chair and the box. I'm not quite sure how that didn't take him out. So I have to look back on that VOD and see, what it clipped through. Looks like we're seeing
Argonaut has been very patient on these flanks too. I've seen a lot of flanking from Argonaut, and most of the time it has paid off. Honestly, wrapping up the round for them there.
Into round 9, Apeiron on a 6-2 lead here. Empire mirroring the situation that Apeiron had last map, now having to win 5 rounds in a row in order to get this off. Not unheard of, but with these 3 tryouts here, it's going to be rough trying to get the team play together. Even if they have played these last 2 maps together and almost this full third, it's just not a good situation to be in for any team. Looking at the kills here, Silver and Argonaut leading with 9 kills each. Pencil Sharpener and Bent with 7 kills each, and then Master Killer with 5. Along with, on the Empire side, I Actually Cried, unfortunately, at 1 and 8, with Weirdo Jr. 6 and 7, Trellis High at 7 and 6, mirroring each other. Looking at, a great game being played here by Apeiron. Great defense, especially.
Something I will say is that looking at the score overall between the two teams, it's relatively even, which tells me that none of these rounds have been a complete blowout for either team. That being said, some very aggressive pushes from Apeiron, taking out Exciting, and I Actually Cried. Mara does get the refrag onto Silver there, but numbers-wise, it's already not looking good as Charles does go down, and so does Brent, leaving Mara in a 1v4 here.
Oh,
dying to
no.
Brent and ending the match. It seems like Apeiron kind of took control of that garage, and honestly, I would say they were the attackers that round, as Empire just didn't even really get in the building.
Doing some great entrance denial there. I saw that in a Valor scrim before, not letting them even get into the building before almost half their team is dead. Apeiron playing that a bit aggressively, paying off, preempting the meta push very well. Unfortunately, Empire maybe not noticing there are so many players in Garage, seeming to stubbornly stay on that door, and Apeiron picking up their second map. Playing a great game, especially with the grenades being thrown on Hideout there, blocking off the plants and securing them the round, using almost all of their util on the second to last round, but winning it out. Very well-played game on both sides.
Yeah, there were a lot of close rounds, and a lot of moments where whoever was dominating tended to swing back and forth from second to second in some of these rounds, where you'd see a dominant numbers lead from one team, and suddenly things would change in an instant with a flank from Trell or a well-placed nade, and things just weren't looking quite as good. Overall, a really strong performance from Apeiron, I would say, going against Empire here. A lot of team coordination, some really well-placed utility, and what seems like some good mentality as well. They did pretty well Arctic, and losing Factory with a fairly substantial gap must not have felt too great, but it certainly did not affect them on a hideout.
Looking like we have just some talk between the teams happening now, with Mara having some interaction with I Actually Cried. But I think that will wrap up the scrim for us here and the cast. Talking about just overall with this cast, I think it was a great one to watch, especially to see these tryouts interacting with higher level teams. And with Apeiron, being an up-and-comer here, with some players that maybe some people know, but not having any previous team experience together. We'll see how this works out for the future.
Apeiron clearly do have something going here with 4 of their members here plus a tryout. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to pick up Argonaut after watching this scrim. Argonaut played pretty well for them, being a pretty solid flank player and a really just solid shooter as well, putting in high kills on most of the maps I remember seeing here, but also playing really well positionally, being a really great player to kind of complement the site holding that we saw from the rest of Apeiron.
Right, and, overall, I think that was a great scrim to watch, and I'm happy that I was able to cast it with you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to cast with you as well. I really appreciate you having me here.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing how these two teams play together in the future. I think that's going to be it for me for now. Do you have anything else to say, Idot?
The only thing I'd say is that hopefully in the future we'll see some better coordination from Empire, and I wish Apeiron the best of luck because they clearly do have something going here. And they clearly do have some skill, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're a name that gets thrown around in the future of this season.
With that, I think I'm going to end off the stream, and I just want to say thank you all for watching, and thank you to the two teams, Apeiron and Empire, for letting me and Idot cast their scrim in the off-season here. Hope you all have a good night.
A great night, everyone. That will be the end of my